Hi Kings, my name is Phil Whittle and I'm the team leader at Grace Church, Stockholm, Sweden. I'd hoped to have been with you earlier in the year. I was all set to go, the ticket was booked, but as we all know, we've had some plans that have been disrupted and been changed for everyone. And so anyway, hopefully in the future we'll be able to come and see you and come and visit you. Just really grateful for the leaders of your church who are friends and are supportive of us, and for the way that you as a church have begun to get behind us in Sweden, and just say it's so valued and appreciated. A lot's been going on for us. Let me try and fill you in on a few things. So we've been in Sweden for 9 years now, and we've been in Stockholm for 8, which is when Grace Church started, with a small group of 7 adults and 4 kids. And then I would say probably around this time last year, so June 2019, we would probably be around sort of 50 or so, men, women and children, very international, so people from all over the world, around 20 nations. And then we began to be joined by a number of refugees from Congo who had been been resettled in Sweden, and that number grew from 1 to today around 120 of them, and from people from all this part of East Africa. And so we've had a Swahili speaking service running. We've got in process of building teams. And we're about to restart physical meetings in August, and we'll add a 3rd language. So we've got English meeting, we'll have Swahili, and we'll have Kinyarwanda, which is like Kinyarwandan, it's a part of a group of languages from that part of East Africa. This is crazy, really exciting, and really stretching. So we're grateful for you guys to help partner with us to connect with Edward Berea in Kenya, who's and just looking forward to hopefully him visiting us and helping us, and you guys have been a part of helping to make that happen when all of this coronavirus makes things possible again. So we've been online because the venue that we were meeting in was a centre for the elderly, and so they closed that to outside users, so we moved online. But we've always been allowed to gather up to sort of 50 people. That's the restriction from the Swedish government. And so in August we're going to restart gatherings for between 30 and 40. We're actually going to have 5 of them to make sure that there is that we don't break any restrictions and people have good space, and we'll be in a hotel in the city centre. So that's kind of both daunting and exciting, and all of that is kind of, we need your prayers. So if you do think of Sweden and Stockholm and what's going on, we just really value your prayers and support for us. And being asked to, I know you do these daily devotionals, and kind of just want to share some encouragement with you. And we've been thinking about, what does it look like how do we grow spiritually in Grace Church? So what are the practices, what are the habits that we need to kind of put in place that would help us grow? And the question is what are the things that help us become like Jesus? Or how does certain things help us become like Jesus? So how does reading the Bible help us become more like Jesus? How does worship help us become more like Jesus? How does giving help us become more like Jesus? All those sorts of things. And of course it's been centered around being like Jesus, that we would have his mind, that we would be transformed into his image, into his likeness, being shaped and kind of conformed and molded through all of these things, responding with the fruits of the Spirit into being more like him, because he is our vision of what the best version of a human could possibly be. And so as we pursue his character and his habits and his ways, we become like the one we worship, and that's a and that's a great thing. And that's a really encouraging thing. But for us, it just kind of comes back to the two great commandments: love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul and strength, and to love your neighbour as yourself. And we live in a world where we can see, you would have seen perhaps more clear opportunities for people to love your neighbour, but we're also seeing right now all around the world how hard it is to love your neighbour, and how divided people are, neighbour from neighbour, right from left, black from white. We're seeing the division, as well as having seen moments of unity. People came together and you saw people clapping and supporting all together, and now we're seeing the flip side of what humanity is like in so many places. And so more than ever, we need to press into practicing the two great commands: to love the Lord our God. And people can say we do that, but it works its way out. The love, because the second one's like the first one, Jesus said, and the second one is like it. In answering the question, he says, love your neighbour as yourself. And so now is the time to press into loving your neighbour. Now, and your neighbour may not be like you, and your neighbour might not be likeable. Your neighbour might not be very nice. Your neighbour might be against you and what they think you stand for. But we have to love them. Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. Blessed are you if you're reviled for my name. But this is our time to press into love and finding ways to love your neighbour. So I think I just want to encourage you as kings, throughout Norwich. What are when you wake up in the morning, to say, Lord, help me love my neighbour today. Today, what does it look like for me to help me love my neighbour? Would you show me who my neighbour is today? Who is the one to whom I can be a neighbour? And in doing so, how can I love them and bring glory to you? How can I love them with the words, the truthfulness of my words and the kindness of my words? How can I love them through introducing them to Jesus, or through praying for them, or through doing an act of kindness? The whole words works wonders. And so, kings, I think, be a people who set that example of rising to the challenge of loving your neighbour. And that's something that we all can do, young or old, doesn't really matter. We all will have someone to whom we can connect with, and God will bring people across our path today, tomorrow, during the course of the week, to whom we can think, oh, okay, I'm gonna try. What does love look like for this person? What does it look like for me to love them? What does it look like for me to be kind to them? What does it look like as I love myself? What is it that I need that they will also need, and that I can share with them? And I think in doing so, the church has a really powerful opportunity to demonstrate in ways that really speak to the needs of our time and the needs of the people around us, the needs of Norwich, as much as the needs of Stockholm. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul and strength. And the second greatest command is like it, and love your neighbour as yourself. God bless you, kings. So looking forward and hoping to have the opportunity to meet many of you in person, and to and if travel allows, and you want to come to Stockholm, you'd be very welcome. God bless you.